First off, I've noticed that some of you guys are interested in the history of the subway station. Some of you guys have also been speculating why such a job even exists. Our local subway station was built in the 1950s. The train station has been the same ever since then, except for a few changes and renovations to adapt to modern technology and trains. The subway station has been closed down many times over the years, till the late 2000s, due to unfortunate incidents. In the 2000s, a new company bought the subway station and promised to manage it properly. There is no information about the company on the web, and it is simply known as the subway management team. After the team took over, nothing has ever went wrong in the subway station. They are probably the ones who invented the rules and hired the security guards. I personally think the reason that this job exists is to prevent incidents like the ones that happened before, and to also prevent the creatures or whatever is on the subway station and the train from entering our world. If so, they remain confined to only these locations and stay there, which would explain the rules of shooting people coming off the train and stabbing the people coming out of compartment 4 if they came out. Other rules may be simply to protect the guard, such as getting on and off at stops 9 and 13 and not going into compartment 5. Speaking of compartment 5, I barely made it out. I turned around and behind me were the same zombie-like beings. They had excited looks on their faces as they drew closer. They took their time, coming slowly, as if to mock me. Suddenly an idea formed in my head. They reached out like they were sleepwalking. I felt claustrophobic as they closed in on me. Their faces and bodies were rotten. The smell made me gag. I pulled out my knife and started stabbing and slashing at them. They continued unfazed, hungry for my flesh. I pushed through the crowd to the entry and exit doors at the side of the compartment and hit it with a fire hammer. The glass immediately shattered. My arms and hands shook from the adrenaline. I hit the glass harder and harder. It broke away pretty quickly. Since these doors were mostly glass and plastic, I could easily jump through this door without it being open. The zombies were fast to follow and they started running at me. I realized that the train had stopped at some station and I didn't have to jump on the tracks and hurt myself. I leaped out through the gap and landed on the platform. A gunshot whizzed past my head. I realized very quickly that I had indeed jumped off the train at station 13. There was a guard right in front of me with a gun in his hand. He was probably just following the rules, thinking I was also a monster. Zombies burst out of the train behind me. The security guard's eyes widened and he shot. The gunshot nearly connected with my head. More creatures of all sorts came out of the train. They were all hideous and otherworldly. Some of them fought each other. Some of them looked around, sniffing for blood. I had just unleashed a world horde into the subway station. Many of them ran outside the station like crazy, ready to terrorize people on the streets. The security guard shot again. This time he didn't miss. It all happened in slow motion. The shot connected with my arm and blood splattered everywhere. I felt a weird burning sensation on my arm. I was surprised I didn't feel any pain. I watched in shock as blood soaked the whole sleeve of my shirt. Then the pain set in. It hurt like hell. My knees grew weak and I collapsed. As if it wasn't enough, the security guard shot another one. The bullet hit my hip bone. I heard a disgusting grinding and cracking sound. First, I just felt shock in my hip, and then the pain set in. It was agonizing. The only thing I could feel was pain. I collapsed fully on the ground and passed in and out of consciousness. And then finally, after a long agonizing time, it all went black. I woke up in a hospital bed hooked to a bunch of machines and IV drip. My arm arched and my torso hurt when I tried to move it. The nurses saw that I had woken up and quickly came over. They explained my injuries to me in a blur and told me about the surgeries they had to perform on me. I had been shifting in and out of consciousness for 2 days. It would take me a long time to recover from the gunshots. After a while, serious-looking men in suits appeared. This was definitely some government thing. They offered to pay my medical bills and give me lots of pension if I kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to be taken away. They didn't explain anything to me and insisted that I forget about it for my own good. My family was also compensated lots and told not to spread anything. Everything was covered up as some sort of accident. The subway station remains closed to this day. The subway management company disappeared and all records of it were gone. The train tracks have been completely closed off and no train would be able to run there. Our small town now usually sees lots of military helicopters in the sky and lots of police cars patrolling. I swear our town has been quarantined as there has been rumors of military trucks on the roads not letting anyone in or out. I have never been able to go back into a subway station. Even images of trains send me into hysteria. I have to visit 2 different psychologists every week. Every night I wake up from nightmares that take me back to the subway station, back to that train, and sometimes I wonder, what happened to all those creatures that came off the train?